Good afternoon this afternoon and welcome for joining to my channel this afternoon. This afternoon I'll be discussing about crops you can plant once and then you harvest for years. Yes. You know, most times when people say um agriculture is the next oil, what we don't understand is it is not about planting maize or planting beans or planting rice or planting all these small annual crops. In agriculture there's annual crops and there is perennial crops, as in crops that stay longer years and every other thing. So it is about planting perennial crops. Imagine, there's something I've wanted to say. Look at, I'm going to be mentioning some. I have some few minutes, but I'll be mentioning some crops and why you need to plant those crops and how you can utilize your land to maximize those crops. Welcome for joining me. And this afternoon, like I said, I'll be discussing crops you can plant once and you earn for years. No, you don't just even earn in naira, you earn in dollars, you earn, crops that you can plant once. Like I said, so this is what I'll be briefly discussing this afternoon. Now, for instance, look at have you ever thought of planting ogbono? Ogbono is a tree, do you know that? Okay, ogbono is a tree. It is called African mango fruit. It's a tree that you plant. It takes several years to grow. But now there's hybrid. When we talk of hybrid means they've reduced the years. Instead of using 10 years or 15 years before, there's now ogbono that matured in 5 years, 4 years. So imagine you have one plot of land. And okay, like I said, for people just joining me, I said this afternoon we'll be discussing about crops that you plant once and you keep harvesting for several years, or you keep harvesting for the rest of your lifetime. And you don't even just only earn in naira, you earn in dollars, as in you can earn in foreign currency. For instance, look at ogbono. Our sisters in some of the crops are coconut, ogbono, cashew, cocoa. Do you know some people are harvesting cocoa that their fathers have planted in the 1960s, 1970s? Though they are now getting, 1960 to this time now, we are talking of 40, 50 years. We're talking of 50 years. Some people are harvesting the cocoa that their father planted that time. So you can imagine. So now, if you now look at all these crops, if you have even just a plot of land, your plot of land, depending on, plot of land varies from location to location. Your plot of land can take between 10 to 15 of these crops. For instance, you look at cocoa, you look at coconut, you look at something. I was thinking this afternoon and it came to my mind. Do you know I drink palm wine, and I know a lot of people that drink palm wine, plus I know they use palm wine for some other medicine too, and some people are bottling palm wine. But do you know, if you are looking for original palm wine, you are going to as in get the ones that is not diluted, the one that is not mixed. It's very difficult to get, and it's just the palm tree. You need to plant the palm tree. Imagine you have a plot of land, you plant 10 to 15 of just palm tree, only to produce palm wine for you, and you sell your palm wine. Do you know how much they are selling palm wine now? You can't even get the undiluted one. Most of the ones we are harvesting are old trees, and so because they are old trees, their production have reduced, their productions are low. So people, because they are old trees, their productions have reduced, their production are low. So you find out that people that harvest it, those people that climb and harvest it, they now decide to dilute it with water. There's no way except you go to typical villages. That's where you can get palm wine. And this is something that is exportable. This is something they are looking for outside the country. Even in Nigeria alone, you cannot sell original palm wine and not sell. They are using it. Palm wine is good for the eye. It's good for some health purposes. It's good for skin rashes and body rashes. So they use it for medicine. Forget about maybe the drinking or the alcoholic part of it or whatever. So palm wine is highly demanded, especially the natural original one that has not been diluted, and it's difficult to find in Nigeria of today. That is one crop I've just told you. So you plant once and you earn for years. If you plant palm tree now, let me put it this way for people that may not understand. There is a group of trees called palm. In those group of trees called palm, we have palm wine there. We have palm oil, the ones that produce red oil there. Then we have coconut, the one that produce coconut. So it's not the, so they are all in the same family. And you know, as they keep developing, initially these trees used to use 10-15 years before they start fruiting. And by the time they start fruiting in old days, they will produce maybe 50 of whatever they are producing. If it is coconut, it might just produce 50. If it is palmy, it will not produce much. But now, technology, science, or whatever, you find out that they have built on these trees that now you have the ones like coconut now. The Malaysian dwarf coconut, excuse me, Malaysian dwarf coconut can produce almost 500-300 fruits. It will not start producing that kind of fruit in 1 year. It will not produce that in the first 3 years. But as it grows, there's a certain point it will reach its full maturity where it can give you plenty fruits. The same thing happens to palm wine that I'm just telling you. And the same thing happens to cocoa. There is now cocoa. There are short-term cocoa. There are short-term cocoa now. Unlike when our fathers were planting it, like Ondo, Ekiti. A lot of them have cocoa. Osun, Ondo, Ekiti. They have cocoa farm and it's really money. And like I said, people are still harvesting the one their father planted those days and it's selling. They are making money. I wish you should check how much they are selling. Cocoa's price has now really gone up because it grows in Africa. It doesn't really grow in some of these other countries, and they don't have the land for it. But we have the land in Africa. Our resources are good for it, but we are the one that is not planting. I'm sure, assuming they can grow it in those other countries that are making use of it, I'm sure they won't come to Africa again to come and look for it. But unfortunately, we are blessed with all these resources that we are not using. Now, I've mentioned about 3 crops there. I've mentioned palm wine. I've mentioned coconut. I've even been screaming about coconut. I've mentioned palm tree itself. Those are in the palm family. Now we now go to ogbono. Ogbono. Do you know a tin cup of ogbono? A tin cup like this of ogbono. Do you know how much they sell it? It's in thousands. Hey, it's in thousands. And people are always looking for it. It's also a tree. Ogbono is a tree. It's a mango fruit tree. They eat the back, it's fleshy at the back, then the inside, that is the ogbono. So it's a tree, and there's hybrid of it, which you can plant, which I can. I'm planning to plant ogbono this year, this 2023 by God's grace. I'm establishing all these things on my farm. You know, in my own case, I use them for research. So I'll be having all of them so that when you ask me, where is whatever, you see them on my farm. As in, all these trees, I'm establishing them on my farm. Ogbono, palm tree, even palm wine, and you know. But for you, if you want to plant, if you have one plot, just one plot, you plant 15 trees. Imagine you have 15 palm trees and you're harvesting wine from, you'll be harvesting drinks from it. You are in money, you are making money. So these are things you can, like I said, my purpose for coming this afternoon is to explain to us, to share with us what we can harvest for what you plant to earn in dollars, and you can harvest for years. You plant them once and you harvest for the next 50, 80 years, even some 100 years. Now, another thing I will be mentioning, I will join in. I've mentioned cocoa, I've mentioned palm tree, I've mentioned palm oil, I've mentioned coconut, and I've mentioned ogbono. That is 5 crops, 5 good crops at your disposal. There's no way one of them will not be growing in your community. And if you want to learn about that, you just join my class, because see, it's not everywhere they grow. For instance, cocoa doesn't do well in my area in Oyo State, but I personally, like I just told you now, I'm going to be experimenting with it on my farm. There are some good practices. Let me put something I noticed with us generally. We keep farming the way our fathers have been cultivating land. We keep producing the way they've been producing. But meanwhile, there are some practices you put that thing will grow. Why will it not grow in my place? So that's why I said I'm going to be experimenting with all of them. But as we are here, there will be one of these crops that will be growing in your place, because I've just mentioned 5. Now another one I'm going to add to it is shea butter. Shea butter, shea nuts. Shea butter is produced from shea nuts. Shea butter is an exportable crop. It's highly demanded. You see every day people call, I want tons of shea butter. I'll tell them I don't sell tons. Oh, I only sell small pack because I don't have access to tons. Why don't I have access to tons? The original shea nuts, the original tree that produce shea nuts, the old ones, they grow naturally in the wild. All these things I'm mentioning, you know, they grow naturally in the wild. It is when you now get the hybrid, or you get the hybrid and plant, or you that's when you can get good results. Not that you take the other ones that have been in the wild and you still repeat it again. No, you won't get result. Now, shea nuts, let me tell you, I said shea butter, I'm used to shea trees and everything. I just told a friend, my friend in Ghana, one of my colleagues in Ghana were discussing about 2 weeks or some few weeks ago, and I asked him, because I know and I've read that Ghana are now propagating, they now have a cut, now have shea nuts that matured in 6 years. So I discussed with him and he said yes, they have it. So I told him, please, even if it is 2 or 3, I want to have it. Let me plant it and experiment with it on my farm. You know, like I told you, you know, my farm is a training center, and I've been in agriculture, I do a lot of things. So now what I'm saying, imagine the original shea butter. It grows naturally, but it takes 20 to 25 years before it starts fruiting. Now, this natural one that grows themselves, you know what we do in Nigeria, especially for things that like all those trees, our charcoal producers have cut them off. They cut them to produce charcoal that they will export. You know, Nigeria is a funny place to be. As in, people that are producing charcoal, how much will they make from charcoal? Trees that will give you fruit for the next 50, 100 years. You cut it off to make charcoal that will give you token immediately. This is what has been happening in the rural side. There's a law against cutting all this against cutting shea nuts and all these other trees. But okay, who is going to enforce the law? Is it not who you cut that you will enforce the law? So the trees are here. But so now if you want to see, you are working in a government office or whatever, but possibly you have a plot of land somewhere, you have half plot of land, or you have 1 acre of land. See, what I don't even advise, if you have an acre of land, don't start with an acre. Because for an acre, you will need like 100 to 120 plants. But before you even clear the acre, the money you will spend is much. So I don't advise that. Like I told you, so if you have an acre, don't start an acre. Decide me, okay, I want to plant 1 plot. This out of that acre, I want to plant 1 plot. I want to plant trees on 1 plot. The advantage you'll be doing with trees, you'll be planting trees to make money for yourself. You'll be planting trees to reduce climate change in that area you are. You'll be creating an atmosphere. Maybe later when you want to relax, when the trees are their shade and everything, you go and sit under it and be relaxing with your grandchildren. By then, maybe your children are outside the country, they cannot come home again. But when they come to harvest, you just tell them, okay, I'm sitting down here, come and harvest my coconut for me, or come and harvest my palm tree, or they pay you. You sat down there with your, those chairs those elderly men used to use. In my place, they call it agbantara. So you just sit down in your chair and say, okay, they will call you and say, look, your coconut, is it mature? Your ogbono, can I come and pick your ogbono? Or these are the things you should invest in. These are the products you should invest in. So this should be something you keep for, they are long time. You plant once, like I said, and you maintain them. But to be candid, harvesting will not start in the first year. Harvesting some of them are 3 years, some of them are 4 years, some of them, unlike before that, they are used to be 20 years, 15 years, 18 years. And if you take proper care of it this time around, they grow faster. I remember somebody sent me a picture recently. He bought coconut seedling from my team last year, and he sent me the picture of the coconut. Wow. Most times I don't share those kind of pictures except the owner give me permission to do that. Or videos. I don't share people's video on my timeline. As in, if I say something to you and you have the video, I try not to share. I don't share it on my timeline, so that unless you give me the permission to do so, because it is your property, whatever. So what I'm trying to explain is that, you see, within 3 years, that coconut will start fruiting. He bought just 1 tree. And that 1 tree, if you follow you understand. So these are the things we should start investing in. You don't need much money. Just buy 10 seedlings. Nurture it. Take good care of the 10 seedlings and watch it grow in the next 3 years. And then you start harvesting. Then when you know, okay, I can afford, I will add another 10. See, this is my problem with people that want to plant 110 acres, or that want to plant 10 acres or 15 acres or 20 acres. My challenges with them is this. You will not be able to take proper care of it. So I usually discourage, except you have plenty money, plenty fund. Because, what I say you will not be able to take proper care of it, you have the money. But you see, the workers you are going to get might not do it properly. So please, start with 10. 10 seedling of coconut, even palm wine. Imagine the way I describe palm wine for you. You plant palm wine, palm tree. Before you can get that, see, like I said, I drink palm. I love drinking palm wine, especially the freshly tapped one. Because I remember if I go to the village, to my village then in Ekiti State, you find out they used to tap from the tappers used to pass in front of our house early in the morning, and my grandma will order and buy for me. So, and it's very sweet, always very sweet. But you come to the city, I remember some of my trainees on the farm here, and because once that when we do a lot of work, sometimes we buy palm wine, we look for bush meat and everything, and do just some get together when we come to the farm around there. So we now send. I saw, okay, they are selling somewhere, one village there. We sent for it. By the time I taste it, I told them I cannot drink it, because once you know the taste of the good one, you won't be able to taste the diluted or the mixed one. It's not sweet, it's watery, it's whatever. And hardly will you get a good palm wine. But do you know, people are ready to pay for it. One, palm wine is used for a lot of medicinal purposes, so people are ready to pay for it to get the original, but it's not available. The same thing with shea butter. Do you know I sell shea butter? I will see people advertising shea butter. The same size of shea butter I'm selling 9,000, 10,000, they'll be selling 2,000 naira, because they've mixed something with it. Like most times I don't even most times I don't pet people to buy shea butter. It's people that have bought from me, that are marketing, that help me market my shea butter, because it's original. But like I told you, people are cutting the trees. The charcoal makers are cutting the trees to produce charcoal. So because they are cutting the trees to produce charcoal, we don't have much of shea butter again, shea nuts again. Like as I'm telling you now, I've given somebody money for the past 1 month, prepare shea butter for me. We are still looking for shea nuts. So they are the trees. Shea nuts now matured in 5 years, 6 years. My colleagues in Ghana told me 6 years. Like I said, I'm planning to be in Ghana early next year or whatever. I've been planning to be in Ghana since the beginning of this year, but I'm hoping next year. And I plan let me see if I can get some seedlings for the shea. Like I said, I'm doing it on my farm. Now, so far, I've mentioned about 5 or 6 things. These 5 or 6 things I mentioned, there's no way you will not have the wonder. Because let me give you something about crops, about these cash crops. Like I said, we always believe this one will not survive in this area. This one will not survive in this area. This one will not survive in this area. But believe me, some area, it's when you try it, you know they survive. For instance, some area have ones that grow naturally in their location. Those places they can easily plant it, like Kwara State, Oyo State, and some Niger State, and some boundary. You can grow shea nuts there. The same thing with cocoa. Like I told you, in my locality here, they told me cocoa doesn't do very well here. But what I'm planning to do is this. I'm going to experiment with it. It's just 4 years. God spare us. So I'm going to experiment with cocoa, with all those things they said will not jam. But I'm going to give it good treatment. What treatment? Just the practical things I've learned on the farm, how to take good care of them, and they are going to do. But for those of you that are joining me and looking at it, you can, if you mention your area, your location, your area, then we can say, okay, this one will do well in your area, or you understand, you know the ones that will perform well in your location. Like I said, Kwara State boundary has shea butter. Oyo State, Osun State has Osun State are the one with cocoa. Ondo, Ekiti, Osun, they are savannah. No, don't mind me, I'm not too good with all those Guinea, savannah, or whatever area. So the Osun State and Ekiti, and they are good. They are places for cocoa. Then cashew nuts. I think cashew go to so many areas. So these are the things you need to do. Like I said, just one plot of land, you are good to go. Just plant 10. On a plot of land, you can plant 10 to 16. 7 meter, 6 meter distance, and you have it there. So these are the things you need. Like I said, why I came online this afternoon is to share with you things you can plant. You plant them once, and then you harvest for the next 50, 60 years, and you still earn dollar with them because they are money making something, and you just sit under the tree. Like I said, 2 things: climate change effect, and then you make money. You are reducing the temperature in your own environment, and you are making money out of it too. And we have the land. So those are the things I'm introducing you to this afternoon. And like my class always go, I always ask, if you have a question, don't hesitate to write it. Like most times when you send questions, the questions might not get here until like 10 minutes. Our network stuff, the questions might not get here 10 minutes or 10 minutes. Or so that's why I'll keep teaching pending when the questions showed on my screen, so that I'll attend to them. But like, I'm not going to spend much time here. I'm spend like 20 minutes. I see I have like 10 minutes. So these are the things I'm sharing with you, and these are the things you see. This is very important. It's most people will now until when I'm retiring. It's when I want to retire, I will start planting this thing. But what stops you from planting now and have an early retirement? Or what stops you from planting now and start making money while still working? And then most youths too, they will look, I don't have money, Jerry. But the other thing is, you don't need plenty. You don't need plenty, as in, like I said, I even discourage people from going for 10 acres or 20 acres. Because if you want to clear, a plot is easy to clear than you want to clear 20 acres or 10 acres. By the time you are planning to clear 10 acres or 20 acres, you need a bulldozer. And it's money compared to when you now look at the cost of diesel right now. It's money. I think diesel is about 900 naira or so. I remember last year I started a excavation. We started an excavation on my close to my farm, and we're trying. It's for a client. We're trying to excavate somewhere, and we're buying diesel for 400 naira. But now it's 800 naira or 900 naira. So I advise people, start small. Small is profitable. Like the cocoa, the palm wine, the whatever. They are highly demanded in the market. They have huge markets. So it's not that, okay, you finish planting, where will I sell? Hello, who will buy from me? Oh, no, you don't have that. You don't have that issue. And if you are worried, you are challenged, you want to learn how to plant them and everything, you know, I'm right here. I have a training coming up in February. The class will be open generally to public in February, but once it opens, it's a continuous class. If you choose to learn about cocoa or the cash crops, you register for the class. It's going to be a 30 days class, 1 hour lecture every day, and after the 1 hour lecture, you have questions, you send your question, and there's going to be assignments and works, and there's going to be links for you to study, to read more, to check more, to really, okay, these people are already doing it, okay, this farm already has it, okay, somebody has already succeeded in it, I'm not the first person to start it. So these are the things we are encouraging us to do. And for the new year 2023, please, you should start planning, you should start budgeting. You know something about us, sometimes you look at it, sometimes you look at it, you feel, oh, I have everything I need, or I don't need anything extra, or I'm working out, but things can change, situations change, things changes. So but if you have those ones as back support, you have them as support, and then you can use them later. Like I said, I'm planting everything on my farm. I'm establishing all the cash crops. I started with vegetables. I was only planting vegetables, and I now look at it. I've spent 10 years, almost 12 years on the farm. If I'd been planting all these trees, I'll be harvesting by now. And the time to start is now. The time to start is now. So I'm starting. I already started with my coconuts, with my lemon. All these things are highly demanded in the market, and that's why I'm telling you. Imagine ogbono. I keep wondering, ogbono fa. See how much they are selling a tin cup of ogbono. You know how much you will harvest on a tree. So these are the things you need to really look into and consider. I'll be attending to the question right here. Cash crops for what? Cash crop for between Shagamu, Interchange, and okay, cash crops for Shion between Shagamu and Interchange and Abeokuta. There's okay. You want me to you want me to tell you the cash crops that are there? You are going to do the homework. Look in your area. What grows naturally in your area? I don't see. I have never been to all the parts in Nigeria. I mentioned the side that I have been to, or the side where I've seen all those things grow. So you personally are living in that area. It is your community. It is your place. So you should look around. Okay, in my community, I used to see cashew is plenty. In my community, I used to see coconut is plenty. Then you know coconut grows there. In your community, if you used to see ogbono plenty, then you know it grows there. So I cannot pick for everybody, but I only mention the areas where I know, areas where I've been to. Like I remember when I was in secondary school, my secondary school has share nut, but I never knew it was share nut. We just call it, I don't even know what to call it. And early in the morning, it was at the back of one of the classroom. And early in the morning, during the harvesting season, during the fruiting season, it used to drop because I was in the hostel. So when we passed the back, we picked it. And we know it's edible. We eat the flesh and throw away the nut, the share nut. Honestly, and we never know it's something valuable. So that's why I know Kwara State have share nut, and because I've worked intensively on share nut, I know the boundary for share nut. Yeah, as in the boundary, because in 2014 I was in the Côte d'Ivoire for share nut conference and every other thing, and I was able, because when I discovered share nut in Agua Modu here, I was intrigued, as in, oh wow, this ori, common ori. So I followed it up. I traveled to go and research more about it, so I could speak more about shea nut. But the shea nut boundary, it has a specific boundary where it grow. But like I told you, it's my boundary is good for shea nut. Like shea nuts grow in my community presently, so it might not be a challenge for me, but for other places it might be a challenge for you. So look into your community, whatever you see grow there naturally. See, you see the challenges we have in Africa. They will say Africa is poor, Africa is poor. Africa is not poor. Africa is naturally blessed. But all this natural blessing we have, we don't work on it. Let me give you an example. Shea nuts grow naturally in Africa, in some beds in Africa. And these shea nuts that grow naturally in some beds in Africa, they now, we don't bother about them. I told you the charcoal people, they cut it and use it to do charcoal to export. You understand? But do you know the Oyibos, the white people, in the city, in the most, what's English will I use now? The best processing factory, excuse me, the best processing factory for shea nut is located in USA. They've tried every possible means to plant shea nuts there, but it refused to germinate. It did not survive in that climate. And that is why they still come to Africa to buy it. But the best processing factory I learned is in USA. So most times they buy the nuts from us, and then we buy them in cream. Look at every of your cream, any body cream you are using, hair cream, body cream, everything, check it. You will see one of the ingredients is shea butter. It's gotten from Africa, but we import the cream and pay exorbitantly for the cream. Look at every cream you have, there's shea butter base in it. Your hair cream, your body cream, your everything, there's shea butter base in it. Please check it when you get her and check your creams. And it's the nut that is taken away from us. 2 weeks ago, I went to, no, not 2 weeks, going to almost 2 months now. I was in Shaki to buy something, and I saw a trailer load of shea nuts going out. As I'm speaking with you, we are looking for shea nuts to produce the little shea butter we have, but we don't have. So these are the things you need. If you plant it, you know you have market for the nut. But I will not even advise you to sell the nut. I prefer to produce my shea butter, because they're also looking for the shea butter. That's one. The same thing with cocoa. You can imagine cocoa. We produce cocoa right here. We export the raw material, then we buy chocolate expensively. We export cocoa raw, which is low cost. You know, value addition give you times 100 of what you get. You just go online and Google the price of chocolate or Google the price of shea butter outside the country. You'll be amazed how much they are selling. But we sell our own raw materials at a cheap price. Now, I'm not even asking you to do processing. I'm just asking you to plant. Do you know one thing? One advantage with us is that if every one of us is planting, imagine if every homes have 10 coconuts, or 10 shea nuts, or 10 palm tree, or 10 ogbono tree. And these are things that people they need outside the country. It will be easy for processor or for somebody to locate their factory close to that area that have it. Personally, for me, if I know an area that have plenty shea nuts, as in they have plenty of it, I can easily maneuver, or you can easily, even the foreigners, the where we are exporting to, they will come around there and site factory close to that place, rather than we exporting it. So those are the. I will attend to I think I saw another question. Can somebody plant 1 acre in a year and monitor the development before planting another acre the second year if the plan is to plant? Definitely, yes. Yes, that's what I advise. Like, because see, the question is, can one plant 1 acre in a year? Monitor it, allow it to establish it, let it develop before you plant another. It's a very good plan. You know why? Now, maybe some people will say, give me cost analysis. If I give you cost analysis right now and said 1 acre, you are going to spend 500,000. If I give you that kind of cost, do you believe that before the next 2 months or 1 month, that price will have increased? Let's say I now give you that cost, that 1 acre is going to cost you maybe 400,000 or 300,000 to plant, and you already budget yourself. You are struggling, you are saving towards that 400,000 to plant. You now look at it, okay, since they say 1 acre is 400,000, why don't I just do 10 acres? Now, if you budget you are going to do 10 acres, that means you are spending 4 million. Do you know when you start, there will be a lot of miscellaneous, there will be a lot of challenges or whatever, because one, the 10 acre is big. The 10 acre is big, and the maintenance will be huge. This is what people don't know. They will say cost effectiveness. It's not cost effectiveness, especially in an area where we don't have farm workers. When you have 4 farm workers, you concentrate them on that your 1 acre, they work on it, they take good care of it and everything. But if you are doing the 10 acres, you are going to end up spending 8 million and you will still not get good job. You know why? Because everybody will be rushing, want to finish on time, and they will not do it properly. For instance, when I was saying the other time that people will say, this thing doesn't grow well in my area, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it because I've experimented before. Why? If you want to plant tree, there are processes involved in planting trees. You have to, the soil has to be loosened. The soil around the tree branches have to be loosened because the roots of the trees is going to be picking the nutrients. So meanwhile, you just dig small and put the small seedling inside. By the time the seedling is expanding and growing, it will have something to feed on, and when it gets to the wall that is strong in the soil, it will not be able to grow. So it won't grow beyond the extent. It's like you building your house foundation. You can't build foundation for 1 bungalow and then start building story building there. You know it's not going to survive. That's exactly the same with plants. So you can't dig a small space that is meant to plant tomato roots that is 30 centimeters and now expect to put trees, something that will be tree. You know, trees, sometimes they'll dig under your house. They can pull up a house, a building, the roots, but because they don't have space to expand inside the roots. So these are the things you need to learn. These are the things you need to understand. These are the things you need to watch the video. You need to attend the class. You need somebody to hold you and say, most people will look. I hope I'm not too fast. I know I'm always very fast. So these are the things you need to understand and because before you plant. So instead of planting 10 acres, take time, establish that your 1 acre very well. When in a year, you can take your time, establish that 1 acre. When you finish establishing that 1 acre, the following year, you will correct your mistakes of the 1 acre from the 2nd acre. As in, okay, instead of you plant 1 and you saw the way it's established, it's doing fine. You even used to see the way it grow, the rate. Okay, maybe you were not adding water before. You can decide, okay, under this 1 acre, half acre, I will add water as irrigation. Half acre, I will not put water. I will let it do rain fed. So by the time you compare the two, you will now be able, the next one you are going to establish, you'll be able to decide, no, I need irrigation if I really want this thing to do very fast. That is how to do plants. But you see, most of us just feel, that's why I discourage 10 acres, 20 acres, 100 acres. Yes, you have the money. Let me give you one challenge in my face. You have the money, you have farm workers. They might work 3 days and say they are not working again, they will leave you. So how do you handle? Meanwhile, you've already bought the seedling. The seedling is down there, and if you don't quickly put it back into the soil, it will be dying. So you are not under pressure to just plant anyhow. So I always tell people, just take time, gradually develop these things. Because by the time you do 10 acres, farm workers can mess you up. People supplying farm nutrients or farm anything, they can mess you up. I'm speaking from experience. Let me give you my incidents this year. I have farm manager that was working with me since 2 years ago. Last year I gave him money to Benin Republic to go and get me farm workers. He went and he came back and we didn't have issue. I trusted him since we've been working together. This year I gave him money again to do the same thing. He went with my money. He came back with the boys but refused to give me the boys. So it means for this year, the first part of my January and my work starts December. So I send him to quickly go December so that by January I will start work immediately because dry season farming. He went, yes, I gave him enough money because I know the trips and everything. He went, he came back with the boys and started giving me conditions. He didn't give me the boys. He went to use the boys to work himself in the same community, yes. So it was even just last week, I seized his motorcycle. I seized one of his newly bought Okada and I took it to the KBS's place. So the case is pending there. But even if he pays me back the money, he has spoiled my whole 1 year. Because from that January because if you don't quickly get farm workers to do those work for you, you will not be able to do anything. From that January, I couldn't work again. There's nobody to work with me because I started looking for, start running and looking for, and if you don't plan yourself, you don't. So I didn't work this year. I'm just using that as an example. So you have the money, but they still mess you up. But if you plan, okay, let me just do 1 acre. They know it is just this one you want to do. So it's not that you have plenty and you are depending on farm workers, or you are depending on farm managers, or you are, I'm just being realistic with you. This is the experience I've had. I can start sharing a lot I've had on the farm. I said I've spent 30 minutes, I've overspent, but I'll still just round up if I have questions. So I hope I answered that question. So that is the perfect plan. You have 10 acres, don't do 10 acres at a time. Do 10, there's a lot of things to learn from it. Do 1 acre, you will need about 100 seedlings for whatever you want to plant. So, but it's not the seedlings that matter. Because when people ask me, can't you invest for me? And I look at them. If you ask me to invest for you, you want to give me money to invest, your own calculation is you pay for seedling. But you see, the manure, do you know, presently, a bag of poultry waste, presently, a bag of fertilizer is 30-something thousand, if I'm not lying. Farmers, if you are here, you can, a bag of NPK fertilizer is 30-something thousand. Let's leave that. We don't normally use NPK fertilizer for this kind of thing. We use poultry waste, poultry manure. But a bag of poultry manure, as I'm speaking with you, is about 3,000 naira. Now, that bag of poultry manure, how many? That bag of poultry manure, you buy bag to go and load it. You be the one to transport it from wherever you are buying. So at the end of the day, you are spending like 5,000 or 6,000 to buy a bag of manure, like 100 kg, depending on where you are buying. That 100 kg, your plant needs about 20 kg poultry manure. So that 100 kg, we plant 5 seedlings. 5 seedlings. Now multiply, do that calculation with, you want to plant 100. So if you are planting, you understand. So these are the things. How do you calculate that? I may get to that poultry today. Now they will tell me it's no more 3,000, it's now 5,000. Will I say I'm not planting again when you have bought seedling? No, you still want to plant. So this is why I advise people, don't buy plenty, don't go plenty. I always do that. Start small, build that small, see to, oh, it's well established, it's doing fine, it's great, then you can now move to the others again. That is the best way to handle your farm, especially cash crops. It's not that you're harvesting now. You are gradually establishing it, and that's how you have big plantation. Okay, I think I saw another question right here. Oh, somebody said sorry about that. Yeah, it's one of those things we encountered on the farm. But you see, how do I tell you that, okay, you gave me money, I promised to run your farm for you, and then I couldn't work for 6 years, for 6 months, or for the whole of the year because I didn't have farm workers. So until I now took myself and went to, and when he didn't show up, he went with the boys, and I didn't have anybody to work with me, and I still need to work. We're running around looking. I'm just telling you about the farm work. We're running around. I will be going. They will tell you, bring money. I will pay. You pay. See, when people stay online and say, can you get me farm worker? I smile. You know why I smiled? You are not ready to get farm worker. If you want to get farm worker, you pay 50,000, you pay 100,000, you pay 20,000. You give different people, and you are not guaranteed your money is coming back. There's no guarantee. They'll come back and tell you that nobody comes, which is true. They are not lying. Let me give you an incident. It was after that incident I waited. Since I didn't get earlier of the year is spoiled for me because I do dry season farming. If you plant only in rainy season, you are not going to make money in Nigeria. You know the way it is. Everybody is planting. So because I do dry season, I waited. I was calling my other boys that are in Burkina Faso. I was calling them. They told me they don't have transport money to come. Now there's no way I could send transport money. MTN, Momo, whatever, doesn't pass Nigeria. And so what do? I pick my load. I start packing my load and whatever. Then I find my way to Burkina Faso. Yes, I traveled. I went to Burkina Faso. Because I know without them I cannot work. Do you know the funny thing? During those periods, I have pepper on the farm. Before I could get someone to weed that pepper, I did like this. I'll beg everybody. Some will charge me small pepper like this. Oh, the money they will charge me. Okay, come and do it. They will not come. And I need to take care of the pepper. It's not much, about maybe 1/8 of an acre of pepper, but I did not get worker, somebody to weed it for me in the and I live in the rural area, sure you know. So it's eventually I have to just pick my things. And make up my mind, and then find my way to Burkina Faso. Going to Burkina Faso, I have to pass through Benin Republic, and then I've never been there. I've not been there, but the only contact I have is that I have the numbers to my boys, those boys that have worked with me before. So I called them, I told them I'll be coming. I went online to use map to locate the names they were telling me, the names of the villages. The pronunciation of the villages is different from what is in the map. So you cannot get, Google cannot give you the answer. Because let me give you one example. One border town where I stay about 4 days because the vehicles are not going towards my direction until a certain day. That border town, on the signpost is written Bani Kuara, but they call it Monipara. Now, I was googling Monipara or Bonipara or whatever in Google because before I left, like when I traveled to Cote d'Ivoire in 2014, I used the map, you know, but those ones, because they are educated people, so the maps was well, the pronunciation, the spellings were correct and everything. So immediately I just Google it. I'll Google, okay, this hotel, I'll Google this. That is how I went to my Cote d'Ivoire. That's how I traced my step to Cote d'Ivoire. But in this time now, the people pronouncing it for me are pronouncing a different thing. So Google or whatever is not bringing me the actual location. So I didn't know. I'm just going as blind as that. It's not that I have the direction, but I'm just following them. So though now, why am I explaining this to you? Is when I got there, well, before I left, my guy told me I will get plenty boys. By the time I got there, I no get plenty boys though. Even as of the day we were supposed to come, okay, I got there like after some weeks I got there because I got stopped over at Bani Kuara. The trailers, it's trailers that apply that road. This 10 I don't want to share the story. These 10 tire trailers that apply that road. So they have specific days when they move because the road is bad. So the one coming from that side, have a day they will move. The one coming from this side, have the day they will move, and so that they won't meet at the Ili. I think I posted a video yesterday on my timeline that people were commenting, so that they will not meet at those places because there's no way they cannot reverse on those Ili places. Now, in short, so by the time I got the day we were supposed to leave, I've arranged with the boys. They've even collected transport money because they need to negotiate motorcycle. We came back from Burkina Faso with motorcycle, so I've paid for them all. That morning, we now was waiting for one of the boys. The boy did not show up, so the one of us now have to go and look for him. What happened? The parents said no. The mother, and I've been to their house. The mother is an elderly woman, which I agree with her. The mother said no, they are not really. He can't go. So despite that I've paid for his transport, I have to live with just the tree. So now imagine and truly I left with 3. But now see, I've collected money from somebody with the mindset that I'm coming with 10 boys or I'm coming with 8 boys. Now I stayed there. I spent some time there in Namum and I can't remember the name of the exact village now. Burkina Faso generally anyway. So now I came back to Nigeria with 3 boys. Now, there's somebody that begged me to bring boys for him. Now, imagine I couldn't get even enough for myself, not to talk of him. So I came back with 3 boys. I was just, I'm just sharing this with you. So imagine you gave me 100,000 or 50,000 to go all that way, and I come back and tell you there's no boys. You tell me I scammed you. That's what people say. They will start seeing my name all around. She scammed me, which is possible. But you won't understand it if you are not in the system. Yesterday, I wrote on my timeline, what do you think you will need for your farm? Somebody said they don't want to go down because of the way I shared the experience, the road, the way I mentioned that the road is bad, that they won't be able to go that line. But now, imagine somebody traveling there, you didn't get boys to bring. They will call you scammers. You understand? They will call you scammers. And so these are the things. That's why I said, so if you want to do 10 acres, I know somebody that has paid for coconut since last year. He couldn't collect the coconut because he has been having challenges with farm workers. By early this year, he paid for them to give him 10 boys. They gave him to give him 10 outside guys. Out of 10, maybe they brought 5. Before 1 month or 2 months, they all left. He paid. He has paid. He's paying. They brought him Benue boys. The same issue. see, what I'm trying to explain to you, so that you don't see, it's better to establish things. Nigeria, we don't have a kind of system. Even if you have machineries, we still need boys to work the machineries. You need boys to do all the minor works. So these are the why I said start small. 1 acre, even 1 plot. If you can plant 1 plot, is a big achievement. You plant 1 plant, because one thing you did not notice again is that 1 plot you planted, or 1 acre, it's not going to give you any returns until 3 or 4 years. And in the process, you cannot say because I've planted 1 plot now, or because I've Oga David. Talo doyin wa? Sorry guys. So, ṣó ti ń lọ ni? Ó ti ń padà lọ sí Alákíá. To, Musa má bínú, mo wà ní class. To, ìyàwó ńkọ́? Okay, ó máa padà wá àbí? Má bínú, mo wà ní class. Má bínú. Okay, má bínú, ṣó gbọ́? Okay, ṣó ń padà bọ̀ lónìí ni? Okay, ó dàbọ̀. Bóyá màá ti parí kó tó dé. Okay. So what I'm sorry guys, don't mind me. Those are my boys, those foreigners, those guys from Burkina Faso. It's a long story anyway. So like now so these are the issues we face with farm workers. Now if you tell me now, get me farm workers, and I said bring money, and I didn't bring farm worker, I don't become scammer with that though. So if you have small farm, you gradually expand your farm, and then you develop, especially that is even tree crops. With the tree crops, you don't need to rush it. And like I was saying, you plant in 1 year and you will not harvest until the next 3 or 4 years. Some will start fruiting in 3 years. There's a palm tree that will start fruiting in 2 years, palm oil tree that will start fruiting in 2 years. There's a coconut is 3 years. There are some that are 4 years. Now, in those 4 years, you will still be maintaining them. What are the maintenance? You have to be clearing it. If you don't clear it, they will set it on fire. During dry season, if they set fire, it will burn your coconut, it will burn your palm, it will burn your bono, it will burn whatever you plant. And at the end of the day, it will reduce your yield. It's affecting your quality. So in that 3 years, not even yearly, you'll be maintaining it. You'll be maintaining it monthly. Weed come out faster than what you plant. If it's farmer like us that are already on the farm, and we are, guys, I'm going to stop when it's 1 hour, sorry. So if it's farmer like us that are already on the farm, and we already, like for instance, on my farm presently, I'm not going to, maybe when else I go to farm, on my farm presently, I'm doing dry season irrigation, as in vegetables, some pepper, and I'm doing dry season irrigation. It is inside that same farm I'm establishing my tree crops. You know what that means is that as I'm establishing the tree crops, I'm planting also. So it means I don't need extra weeding, because I'm already weeding the pepper inside it, and I'm taking care of it along. But if it is like you, that you just open 1 acre and you did not plant anything inside, because you see, when you plant all these tree crops, you need to give them distance, because when they grow, they will spread like this and form shades to touch each other. So you need to give them distance, at least 7 meters, 6 meters, 8 meters, depending on the crop you planted. If you now plant it during those times when they were small, all the other areas where you did not plant anything, they will be bringing weed, and you need to be clearing the weed. Except if you are farming and you are cultivating. Please don't have the idea. Most people always have this idea that, okay, if I'm planting the coconut, I will now start cultivating maize, and the money from the maize, I will now use it to. Please don't do that. If you don't have money to fully concentrate on your coconut, or fully concentrate on your cocoa, or fully concentrate on whatever, don't plant. Please don't invest. You know why I said so? Now, if you have the mindset, okay, if I plant the coconut now, then I will plant cassava. I will plant cassava, or I will plant maize, or I will plant annual crop. When I now harvest them, I will now use the money to the next second year. Is the money I will use. It's a lie. It's a big lie. Why did I say it's a big lie? What if you harvest that cassava and they are selling 1 ton of cassava for 1,000. Will that money clear the coconut, or will that money clear cocoa, or will that money clear the tree? No, it will not. If you don't have your full money for maintenance for 3 years till fruiting, please don't invest, don't plant, don't attempt it. I've had enough of that. And most times when people tell me that, I will just say okay. And when I say okay, it means I don't want to talk too much, because I don't even know where to start the explanation. So it means your budget for 1 acre, or your budget for 10 acre, or your budget for 1 plot should be 3 years maintenance. Okay, I'm planting coconut. If I plant the coconut, if I clear the land, if I do what I'm supposed to do, it means I will still need money every year. Not every year, every 3 months to clear weeds. Every 3 months. In rainy season, weeds are very much. In dry season, you will relax more. So budget every 3 months to clear weeds. But don't believe, okay, they should, I will use tractor, I will plant cassava, I will plant maize, I will now use the maize and the cassava, I will now use it to maintain in the second year. It's not true, it's a lie. Because you are not sure you will make anything from the cassava and the maize you plant inside. You are not sure still your farm worker will not disappoint. You are not sure weeding will not destroy your farm. You are not sure X-Men will not still disrupt your farm. I'm sorry, I'm being realistic when I say this. So budget your full 3 years money. Okay, when I buy coconut 1 acre, maybe I will clear the land, I will do this. Then budget money that you will use every 3 months to clear it. Except if you are farming and you are there. Not that somebody is farming for you. Please don't do farm for me here. Nobody can farm cassava and maize for you to get profit. You will not get any profit. I, Yinka, cannot farm cassava and maize for you and get you profit. You will not get profit. You will not make profit. Because one, the selling price and the whatever are determined by the market, are determined by the season, are determined by what is happening. It's not determined by you, the farmer. So please, don't use that to budget. If you know you cannot afford it, don't. That's why I said start with just 1 plot. If you have 10 acres and you know it's 1 plot, you can separate money for the next 3 years. Or you can, okay, this 1 plot, I will just be putting money in this 1 plot for the next, I know I will take good care of this. Fine. But don't stress somebody and say, I get farm manager, you should quickly plant maize and use the maize to grow the coconut. It will not work. I'm just being sincere with you. It will not work. You know, it's time we start telling each other the reality. I've been on the farm, I know what works. It's not going to work. Farmers in the rural area do that. But you know, farmers in the rural area are not expected to harvest from that cassava or from the maize to maintain what they have on the farm. No. Whatever comes from the harvest is fine with them. So don't say because you are paying farm manager in the 2 years, he's now supposed to get this for you. No, please. It will not work that way. So I hope I'm making some sense. So I'll be rounding up. If there's any other questions, I will attend to it, but I'll be rounding up right now. I stayed, okay. How do you deal with language barrier? That's a big question. Okay, the language barrier, it's actually why I have to go. Okay, this is what happened. Most times when I'm looking, you know, I've been searching for farm workers. I've been running around in the farm to do for farm workers for the last 10 years. As in 10, 12 years. 10 years. My 12 years, I was not looking for farm worker. Now, what I do is, the community, anyway I'm looking for farm worker, I will tell them I want the one that understand Yoruba a bit. So those are the ones I've always been yeah, welcome, sir. Those are the ones I've always been picking, you understand? So with time, and see, one thing I'm going to briefly mention before I round up is that most of us, personally, especially farmers, we don't treat our farm workers well. Because I treat, yes, I'm answering the language barrier, I'm bringing it. Because I treat my farm workers well. Now, maybe in the first, second, there's no farm workers they gave me that will not want to come back. I remember my first set of farm workers. Then, Bajaj, that motorcycle we used to buy for them was 130,000. That was 2013. I bought 3. Actually, I have 2 guys. The other extra one was somebody that came from the city, a lady. And because we believe we are one, she said she asked me to get 1 for her. I got that 1 for her. At the end of the year, she refused to pay. She said she did not make anything from the farm. And because of my kind of person, I don't have money. I sold everything I made that year. I'm not even sure I sold. I borrow money. I pay for our home farm workers and pay for my home farm workers, my own too. So I bought 3 Bajaj. Everybody in this community know. I bought 3 Bajaj, whereas I only used 2 boys. Now, the following year, those boys, you know, they will tell their community where they come from. They didn't come from our community here. It's another community. They will tell them that woman, even though the other woman did not pay, she paid. That was one of my goodwill around here. So every year, they always give me boys. I don't know if you get it. So every year, they always give me boys. Then the last set of boys with me, it means even that those guys that I paid for their 3 bikes that went, they came back the following year and bring more boys. But then I was really indebted. You know what? Mo jẹ gbèsè. That was my first experience with. It's not the boys that make me to jẹ gbèsè. I don't know anything to do on the farm. I don't even go to farm. I just say they should go and work. And I got farm manager. The farm manager will take them to his own farm. The farm manager is an indigene. The farm manager is an indigene. So when that guy came and travel to their village and bring more boys the following year, I told him no, I'm farming, but I'm not using any boys because I was heavily indebted. The money I used to buy their bike was a money I just took from somewhere. You know, I was indebted, honestly. No, mo jẹ gbèsè. Èmi náà mọ̀ pé mo jẹ gbèsè. So I did not take them. They went to work with some other farmer. You know, in the community, other farmers will take them. But me, I told them, no, I can't. Because, you understand? So now, it is still that link, that place where those boys came from, that used to give me, they keep changing boys for me. Or if they don't have, they will direct me to another place. And I will tell them, you understand? But the last set I now have, why I have to go for them myself. The last guy that gave them to me, he owes them money. He took the boys, they worked for him 2 years. He did not buy anything for them, did not pay them. So they took him to immigration, and it was a huge case. And me, I was looking for boys. And one of my contacts said, this person have boys. But there's a condition attached to the boys, because that year, people did not want to buy motorcycle for people. So they told me, will I buy motorcycle? Because they resume around March. Maybe that means they will use maybe 8 months or 7 months. They told me, will I buy Bajaj? I said I will buy. Everybody, even my community, my community, when I told them I saw 2 boys somewhere, they said I will buy Bajaj. They said, no, I should not buy Bajaj. Why will you buy Bajaj? Your work is not Bajaj work. You know, that kind of thing. So when I got there, I was doing shakara that I will not buy Bajaj. I left. When I go back to my own community, other farmers that I heard, they came to meet me that I should describe the place for them. They want to go and collect the boys. They will buy Bajaj. I described the place. They went. It was when they left that my brain woke up. Okay, they offer you boys. You say you are not buying Bajaj. The people you told are now saying they will buy, and they are going to take the boys. Luckily for me, they got there, and those people said they told them they've given the boys out. I didn't know it was my goodwill before that makes them to want to still give me boys in that community. So it was by then I've woken up from my stupidity. And so I picked my bike again. I said, oh yeah, Oga David, we are entering the bush again. All these places are bush. Then, they are living in the bush in our surrounding. When I got there, they told me, they gave me boys. Me, I'm doing shakara. I went to call people that they are not giving me again. Actually, they've not given the boys out, but they just told those people they've given them out. I started begging. I have to go back to the original person that linked me. Is a link, and said, please help me beg them. Whatever, I'm so sorry. That was how they now released the boys to me. Now, when they released these 2 boys, I'm sorry now. Okay, when they now released these 2 boys, with the intent that I will buy Bajaj. Now, the boys came to my place, and they have an agreement with that guy that they were staying with, that he will still buy he's owing them. By the time they wanted to go, he was still owing them. They took him again to one police, their own police. They have their language police around our community. They took him there. Those people community now believe it was me that guided them to that other police where they were able to collect some money for them. So they were angry with me. I told them it's not me. They mix up with people around, and it's even their right. So it means when they were going back, the other guy that brought them refused to arrange how they will go back. They now become my problem. Meanwhile, farmer always dodge for paying. They don't want to pay for transporting them back to their place. They now become my issue. I said, oh, no problem. I started looking around. Who is going towards Burkina that will help me cross my boys? Crossing means I bought their motorcycle Bajaj. And somebody need, you know, there's immigration between Nigeria and the boundary of Cabo and the boundary of Benin. You will meet more than 10 or 15 immigration officers. Nigeria is the worst of all the places. When you enter Benin, no police, no anything will arrest them. But between Nigeria, just once they get to Nigerian soil, they will meet more than 15 immigration officers. And they will all be paying 2,000 naira. So now, what they now do is, you look for somebody that know the bush road. There are places they will be dodging the immigration to reduce the money they will pay with the bike. So eventually, I got somebody that was going to Benin. I paid. All these expenses is not supposed to be my expenses again. My own is just supposed to be Bajaj. But oh, their oga don't leave them for me. They don't become my issue. They are now my wahala. So what I did was, I gave them, I fueled their motorcycle, and I still paid the person that is to cross them 20,000. I'm talking of 2 or 3 years ago. And I begged him to please help me lead them home. And that was how they traveled. Before they left, one of them dropped his number, the number they were using at home, and said, so that I can call them when they get home. So they left. That was 2 years or 3 years ago. They traveled back. When they now traveled back, the following year, the guy know I need boys. And you know, they still have their money to collect from the officer in Nigeria here. So when he was coming, he brought 2 boys for me. But before he came, I already collected 6 boys from Benin Republic, because I never knew they would come back again. But he told me it's me he brought the boys to. So I didn't ask him to go with the boys. I collected the boys. Musa, shut in Loleni. Ilẹ̀ ti ṣú mi fẹ́ kílẹ̀ ṣú Ismaila. Kí ni mo fẹ́ fún lọ, ó yá wá gbà kó fi repo. Mi fẹ́ kílẹ̀ ṣú o. Ṣé o mọ̀ pé àsìkò yìí kò dáa? Ọ̀nà ò dáa, mi fẹ́ kó kílẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ ṣú kó tó máa padà lọ. Tó bá ti fẹ́ wá kó wá lójúmọ́, ó yá wá gbà kó fi ra epo. Mi fẹ́ kílẹ̀ ṣú ẹ, ó gbọ́ mi. Ọmọ pé àsìkò wọ́n ń gba ọ̀kadà lọ́nà. Ọmọ àbí wá gbà kó fi repo. Okay, so as I was saying, so now sorry guys, one of their friends came and we came together from Burkina Faso. Ìyàwó ńkọ́? Ó yá gbà kó fi repo. Mi fẹ́ kílẹ̀ iṣu ẹ lọ́nà. Ọ̀nà bí ò dáa, tó bá lọ máa sun bí kò sí wàhálà, but ọ̀nà ọbẹ̀ yẹn ò dáa. Ọmọ pé gbogbo ẹ̀ ni mo mọ̀ torí Ọlọ́run. Mi fẹ́ ilẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ ṣú kó tó lọ. Tó, okay. Mi ní kó má dúró bọ̀ ilẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ ṣú. Okay. Okay. So sorry guys. So that was how. Sorry, it's one of the guys. He came with me. We came together where I went to Burkina Faso. So I know all of them. But he's not here with us. He's somewhere else. So now, what did I do? I said that was how the guy now came back and brought 2 guys. He said it's not working that year. He's not going to stay, but he brought the 2 boys for me. But before he came, I already collected 6 boys. Somebody has already given me 6 boys. My farm manager, who is from Benin, has already given me 6 or 7 boys from Benin Republic. So I told him. So, but he insisted. He gave me the boys, and I cannot reject them. I now collected the boys. He said it's me he knows. So I started looking for who wants farm worker. So I went to give it to another farmer, actually my neighbor, who has not gotten farm worker for that year. My neighbor knows the agreement. It's motorcycle Bajaj. He will feed them, he will clothe them, whatever. So I gave the 2 new boys they gave me. The one he brought from Burkina, I gave it to my neighbor. They stayed there. At the end of the year, my neighbor gave me the money to buy their Bajaj. Plus, I bought the Bajaj with the one on my farm. And that was what I asked my farm manager to take to Benin. Why am I telling you all these stories? These are the intensive things that happen. No, I've spent so much on the boys. So it was easy for me. Now, when they were going, the 2 that I gave Baba and the 6 on my farm, when they were going, the Benin farm worker, I gave him money again to help me cross these 2 that are from Burkina Faso. You know, you get to Benin before going to Burkina Faso. My farm worker took, and then the guy in Benin, in Burkina Faso again, send me another 2 boys so that they will exchange the boys at the border. But my farm worker got greedy. He sent the boys that are going, he gave them to these boys. The one they gave him to bring to Nigeria for me, he ran away from them and came back to tell me police collected them. The police, he just came to tell me police did something. You know, that was how he didn't bring those 2 boys that were from Burkina Faso. He dropped them halfway and came. Now, for the language, sorry, I told you plenty stories, but they are something beneficial. Now, it means when I went to Burkina Faso, when this boy, my contact coming, the 2 boys he gave to me when I didn't use them, when I gave them to some other farmer, they did not understand any bit of Yoruba when they came. But the farmer I gave them to can speak little French. And one of the boys too can speak little French. So by the time the boys spent some months in Nigeria, one of them was really, they quickly catch up, can speak Yoruba. Now this year, when I went back to Burkina Faso for them, the boys I gave to somebody last year is among the boys that follow me back to Nigeria. And then they bring some of their friends. That's how. And now, so my language, now as I'm speaking with you now, some of them are possibly coming again. But because I already have the ones that can speak, so the one that cannot speak will be learning from the one that can speak gradually before those ones. You know, there's a way I arrange now. I have some in May. They will not go until May next year. And then I want to have some in December or January. Those December, January will be going December, January. So my farm will not be vacant at the end of the year. That's what I'm currently arranging. You know, see, it's when you don't know the basics, so it means when I tell you I'm giving you boys and you are buying Bajaj, it means you pay their transport to go. You pay their transport to come. But this is where I have problem with people. They will start saying no. And then another thing, like, why I said I'm not giving anybody boys this year is because when you give people farm worker, common phone, they will not allow them to have. Phone to call. As in, there's no way you prevent people from communicating with their homes. Do you know what I did with my boys? This year when he came, immediately they come, I always buy SIM card for them. Not even buy, I always have plenty SIM card. I'll just remove one of those ones I'm using for internet that I'm not using for call. I'll just remove it and give it to them. So I'll be calling them and I'll buy phone. Now, when they came this year, I quickly bought phone for them with SIM card, with one of my SIM card. Because when they communicate with their people at home, that's how they can monitor those ones to follow them to come and meet me again. But when you break the communication, you are very strict, you are doing this, you are cutting things away from yourself. That's how I became their coordinator around here. People now, they'll tell me, they say I be your guy Juku. We call them Jukum. You know, there are some tribe called Jukum, so we refer to all of them as Juku. So I be Mama Juku for my locality here because it's only me that have been to Burkina Faso to go and look for my boys. I know their parents, I know their, and when I got there, they insist I must come and greet this person. I must go and greet this person. They were giving me guinea fowl eggs as presents. They gave me Benny seed and so many other things. So now most of them now we had an arrangement. Even if some people go, some will come back and the farm will not be empty. So I'll be rounding up. I've shared a lot of story this afternoon. I started purposely to share with you what you can plant to earn in dollars, what you can plant once and earn for life. But like I said, don't plan, okay, I will plant 1 year, I will use maize money or cassava money or kinika money to, no, you cannot. Please, budget yourself. Don't go 1 acre. If it's only 10, you can manage. Even 10 plants. I did a coconut challenge where I tell people, just plant 10 tree crops. If you plant, now I mentioned the tree crops you can plant. I mentioned cocoa. In those days, these things are longer years. They use 15 years, 10 years, no fruit. But they are now crossbreeds, they are hybrids, there are a lot of scientific work that have been done to them. So you don't use several years. Coconut of 3 years is available. Palm tree of 2 years is available. Palm wine of lesser years is available. Shea butter, shea nuts that used to stay 20, 30 years can now matured in 6 years. Ghana have it, plenty of it. Shea nut is available now. You can harvest inside. Ogbono. You know, these things I forgot. I didn't mention kola nut and kola. Obi, orogbo. They are hybrid for them. Obi, orogbo. These things are highly marketable. And imagine if everyone is planting 10. If you plant 10, or imagine you are planting 10 in the name of your children, you are already building investment for you yourself, because that crops you plant 10 and name it one of your child and say, okay, this for this child education. Do you know, before your child gets to 10, 15, what am I even saying? Before your child is 4 or 5 years, you're already harvesting, and that will be paying for his school fees or her school fees. These are the things we don't understand, but we always look at it as long. We don't have longer term crops again. All these cash crops, we call them cash crops. They are no more longer terms. 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, you are harvesting. But at least start with 10. Don't go 10 acres. Don't go 20 acres, please. If you can afford 1 acre successfully, you can monitor it successfully, it's fine. But please don't go 10 acres. There's one question here. Let me see, then I will round up. With your experience, ma, can you formalize the process of getting the workers, since all people involved are within West Africa? No. I'm not getting workers. You want me to share my experience with getting workers for people? So I told you about the Bajaj 2013, when I have to pay extra Bajaj when somebody did not pay. It was 130,000 last time, was like 500,000 this now. The Bajaj now is 500,000. No, I cannot. That's one. Last upper year, there was one Afa that was disturbing my life. I gave him 2 boys. Up to now, he's still owing me money. He told me he cannot pay for. He left them on the farm. No monitoring, no supervision, no anything. That's another part I may be talking about. You see, when you have farm workers, you don't expect them to do everything for you. You are the farm owner. You should understand the farm. Okay, it's like you are. Let me give you this example. Sorry, I said I was stopping 1 hour, but let me give you this example. You got an house help. Females that are here, or guys, you know now, maybe you got an house help, or if you have a store, a shop, you got somebody for your store or shop, farm, you got a shop, somebody attendants to stay in your shop. We just bring her to the shop and drop her or him on the shop, and believe he knows everything you are doing on the farm. It's capital no. So why do some of us, because we say they are farm worker, you just get them there and then you put them on the farm and say, be working. That is what most of you guys do. That's what people do in the city. They will not go to farm. You are in Lagos, your farm is in Abeokuta, and you put 2 boys there that will collect Bajaj, and you expect them to work. Abba, guys, that is very unfair. That's the challenge I face. I gave this guy these boys to work for him. He said they will work for him. He kept them somewhere. He will not go there maybe once in 2 months, once in a month. I insisted he should give them phone. He said no, he didn't want them to cause problem. Until I threatened him, I'm coming to pick the boys before he could buy a phone for them. He's still owing me. If I don't learn, then I'm stupid. The other woman, she's staying outside the country. She said she have palm tree, she have this thing. She said she wants 6 boys. I said, no, I can't get you 6. 6 boys is too much for you to manage. Let me give you 3 boys. I gave her 3 boys. She went to some other people and got extra 3 boys, making 6 boys. No supervision, nobody to guide them, nobody to do anything. She just has them to be working. Then she will now measure 1 bowl of beans. She will measure this mudu of beans and give it to 6 boys to feed on. Do you know something? Those boys can finish the food. One of those boys will finish the food 10 of me will eat. This is another challenge. I think okay, there was a time I think okay, most of this things I used to write it, I don't share it like this. Do you know, on the farm, if you buy on the farm, if these boys, they don't care whether the food is not sweet. As in, as long as you give them salt and Maggi, they don't need all this pepperency or whatever. Rice is not food for them. Rice is too light. They don't take it. Rice is special day, maybe 1 day in 3 months. So rice, you can't use rice to feed them. Solid food, yam, gari, cassava, and everything. That is what they eat. They do hard labor. So rice, no, they work. All this pap, no, they work. We get them beans for because of them. I start planting beans. So she will now mention 1 mudu of beans for 6 boys. She will say that's their morning food. I told her it will not work. They will not do your work. They will refuse to work if you don't give them food. Why would they refuse to work? I don't measure food for them. Let me give you what I do. Because of them, purposely this year I plant cassava. On my ½ acre of cassava or 1 acre of cassava, you will harvest 3 pickup. That 3 pickup, I don't intend to sell. I will just ask them, you just harvest it and give it to them. They peel it themselves, you spread it, and food for 1 year don't land. So I plant beans. Maybe once in a week, I give them 2 mudus of beans. It's not that beans is the main food. I have gari, I give them. You see, but when you now start buying food to give farm workers, you are running into debt, serious debt. You have to give them. But this is the challenge most of us have. Or you expect them to eat this small chicken food. You don't reach anywhere, you know they belly food. I don't measure food for my boys. Farmers in our locality don't measure food for them. Rather, we make the one that come this year to plant the food they will eat next year, to plant the food, the ones that will come next year we eat. The cassava I planted this year, except if these boys are coming back next year, is another set of people that will eat it, not them. Maybe the other workers that will come next year. But some other people have planted, like last week now, when they harvested plenty sweet corn from my sweet potato from my farm. They were not the one that planted it. It was the other people that planted it. But they are the one that harvested it. It was plenty in their room. I told them to keep it. I dashed some out. So I plant sweet potato, I plant cassava because of them. Then I plant beans because of them. So it's just minor things. It's then I buy packet of Maggi. If you buy packet of Maggi, it cannot last 2 weeks with them. Cannot last. So I buy packet of Maggi almost every 2 weeks. But you see, because of they know I don't suffer them with all these things, they don't play with my work. Now other boys in other farmers' farm, they do just the labor work. My boys now, they learn irrigation. I teach them. My boys learn irrigation. Now they wet farm, as in they monitor my irrigation. I only go to farm maybe only in the morning sometimes. Sometimes I travel, I won't be around. But because of the way I handle them, they watch my irrigation, as in they're the one. I will say, okay, I taught them from here to here, 10 beds. That's what we open 2 tanks of water. From here to here, that's what we do. My foreigner boys. That's what I taught them on my farm. So what I'm saying is, but food though, food is. I was sharing the video I shared yesterday. They sent me message that I should buy okra. I told them I'm not buying. We have water on the farm. We have okra seed, and I've been shouting, plant okra, plant okra. Because of that, yesterday I have to pick up to get up and go to the farm, and I stay with them. Oh yeah, plant, and we plant 4 beds of okra. That 4 beds of okra, when it come out, we'll do dry okra there. We'll do this there. It saves me money. I don't buy pepper. I don't buy ewedu. I will not buy okra. Food, they will take that one from the farm. So you can see, but if you say you are going to feed them, you are going to run into debt. I'm being sincere with you. Farmers don't buy food for farm workers. They plant. It's the farm workers you make to plant the food. So that when I say people don't know how to farm, this is what, or you'll be losing a lot of money because they can finish everything you plant on your farm. But because of my cassava now, pick up of cassava will last 1 year. With the boys, yes. But though you now be adding extra food, beans. Okay, this salad break, this Easter, Christmas, I told them not to go to farm because they're always there. I told them to stay. On Christmas Day, somebody was asking them, what will you eat? Is it amala or rice? They said, no, not amala, rice, because they are used to amala. Guinea corn, because I know they eat guinea corn. I plant guinea corn. We harvested it. We shell it. When we shell it, we grind guinea corn. We grind that cassava flour. We mix the two together. Oúnjẹ ti dé nìyẹn, food don't shell it. For my boys, that's what they eat. In their place, they eat guinea corn. When I went there, when I traveled there, they don't have any food to offer. Maybe I got there. You know, when you have visitors, you're supposed to offer your visitors. And I know, since I know my boys now, so maybe I got there. I asked them, what do they have? What do they have? I called with the boy. Oh yeah, it's mine. What is there rice? He said no. Okay, where do we get rice? I gave him money. He pick or gather because rice is special food. They can't afford it. So he went out, he bought plenty rice. So for the 1 week I stayed, he bought rice, he bought Maggi, he bought everything. He brought change. I said no, leave it. He said no. He gave me change back. He bought Maggi, bought everything that they will use to entertain me for these 4 days or 5 days that I'm spending, and everybody were eating it together. When I want to eat food, I said, the food do not have salt. Oh yeah, for me, give me salt. He said, they don't have our kind of salt. Which kind do you have? Give me. He went to bring, you know, there's a salt we call livestock salt. We will call it Iyomalu. That's cattle salt. We buy it for cattle. When I was rearing goats, I bought that bag of salt. So we give it to goats to lick. You know, we mix it with their food. It's cubes like this. That's salt. So when I asked him, I said, give me salt. He brought it. That's what they have in their place. I said, fine. I pick it. You'll be licking the salt along with your rice. I left their place. But they have plenty guinea fowl, plenty chickens, plenty. They have pork. They have livestock. They rear livestock in their house. So they were just killing and frying for me. But all the other things, oh, now me, you understand? Now the formation, when my boys got back here and they can eat salt, I will complain, this salt is too much. When they get back, I have the livestock salt. I said, this is the salt you gave me in your village. Oh yeah, take. That's what I've been giving them, and I've rest from salt. So what I'm saying, there are things you do to compensate each other's and everything. So that's how far I've gone with my boys. I'll attend to this question, then we go, what crop is being discussed? You have to watch the video from the beginning. Sorry. With your experience, ma, okay, I've answered that. So I can't get boys for anybody. I'm sincerely sorry. I can't. Yes, I have access to them. I was even telling somebody, from here, there's a place, there's a point. If you can go there yourself, but I'm not taking responsibility for anybody. Nigeria has taught me. So if there's a place, if you live from our side, I don't know Lagos people, you might not be able to go through that side, but from our own boundary backyard here, there's a place called Bani Kwara. It's the boundary between Benin Republic and Burkina Faso. Anyone coming through that route from Burkina Faso will stop at Bani Kwara. Anyone go, it's a boundary. That place, but like I told you, it was trailer. I entered trailer to Burkina Faso. But when I was coming, we took motorcycle. The boys took me on motorcycle. Okay, so it is that junction. If you get to that junction now, as I'm speaking, this is the season. Some will be, the boys will just leave Burkina Faso and start coming to Nigeria. When they start coming to Nigeria, the boys will leave Burkina Faso and start coming towards Benin and this side. They will now stop at that Bani Kwara. There's that garage where the vehicles used to park. They will stop at that garage and be looking for farm owners that will take them to go and work. So that's where somebody else took those two boys that were supposed to come for me, that my farm manager ran away from. It was from there somebody took them to go and work. So we've later communicated with them. One of their brothers is with me, and now they've collected Bajaj and they've gone back home. So it's at that point people go, if you go there, if you want 10, 20, they'll follow you if you can pay their transport money to wherever you are taking them to. But like I said, I'm not going. But the danger in those ones is that you need to know somebody that you can link them with so that you can hold them, But like I said, I'm not going to be responsible. I know my guys can bring boys, but I'm not bringing boys. And they don't born me well. I know fit. I don't have money to be buying somebody else's Bajaj again. I'd rather just take care of my own farm. I can see, the truth is, if those boys come, they follow their oga that is with me to come. I will give them to farmers in my community. I know those ones. They know the rules and regulations. They will buy, they'll take them to farm, they'll fulfill all their promises. But people outside, people like me and you, we. I've tried it two times, and all are just, it's not really something, sorry, me and my mosquito, it's not something I really want to get involved in again. So I think I've answered all the question here. Somebody is asking, where is my farm location? Do you want to come and visit me? Do you want to pay me? Do you want to settle me? What am I planting now? Okay, so I've attended to the question. Okay, where's your farm location? My farm is in Oyo State. What are you planting now? I plant everything. Is it possible to get people to pay some deposits and sign an agreement? No. I'm not getting involved. Farm workers, sorry, they took our light. So I'm rounding up. Farm workers, I'm not getting it. Honestly, it's not something. With my experience, 3 times. I've experienced it thrice. I've had to pay extra 3 times. Currently, even as I'm speaking, I still have boys outside. I have 2 boys outside, but their time is not here. Yes, I have 2 boys I took to somewhere. So, but for the 3 other experiences I've had, I'm not going to get involved again. See, when you get found, it's not that you are getting anything. There is not anything. The agreement is Bajaj, and you pay their transport money to go and to come back, and then people will still default, and they will tell you they did not do anything on the farm. But I just told you the problem most people have. You can't buy food to feed them. You are running at a loss if you are buying food. You can't afford to leave them alone on the farm. You cannot. Why you cannot allow to leave them alone on the farm is that if you give them work, they will rush and finish that work and be sitting down. Even if you are in a situation, if you are in a community where they have access to other farms, they will go and be working and be getting more money while they will leave you, because they finish the work you gave them. But if you are close by or you are around, you give them work, they finish it, you give another, they finish it, you give another. That's how it works. They rise, they sleep, but when you are not even there, you leave them on the farm for 1 week, or you leave them on the farm for 2 weeks, and you're expecting them. Honestly, People need supervision. Like I said, if you have your housemaid or you have for somebody at the store, you'll be guiding them. Okay, this is what you should do. Write this. You will not just leave them one day and assume they've known everything. Or you get somebody to be selling something for you. You train them. But you did not train this one. The funny thing is that most people don't even know what to do on the farm. So they don't even know how to train the boys. So, and at the end of the day, it bounces back on me because you will readily say, they did not work and you refuse to pay. I told you people are owing me. People that refuse to pay, I refuse to pay. So how do I do that? I can't do that to them because they trust me and they have this belief that since they come to me, I will not mess them up or I'll get that thing out for them. That's why they came to me. So for me now, I'd rather give our farmers, our co-farmers in the rural side, I'm still comfortable with them because I told you Baba that I gave. Let me tell you the incidents with Baba. When Baba gave me money for their motorcycle, and when Baba gave me money, Baba gave me 310,000. That was last year, 310,000. And as of that time, they were selling motorcycle 310,000. But even me, I've not gotten my own money to buy for my own boys. Baba gave me one because I gave him 2 boys. He first gave me one, 310,000. But me, myself, I've not gotten money and I cannot go and buy only his own from Lagos. I need to buy all together. By the time I went to buy my own, Bajaj was 345,000. I bought my own, I bought Baba own. When I came back and explained to Baba that we bought at 345, Baba can't the remaining money, the extra, despite that he has given me 310. He counted the extra that I pay, and because I already know I lost because he has given me his own money like a month before I went to buy it. He counted the extra money and came to give me. Now, if boys come, who will I give boys to? Unlike the ones that the boys work and they will not even pay you. So these are the challenges and these are the issues. And why the boys are not coming before when I first got to the farm, the boys used to come by themselves to Nigeria, as in they will find transport money and squeeze themselves and come and say you should pay the Okada that take them some, because they will pay halfway and then just the halfway you are going to balance for them. It is that halfway immigration that collect that money. It is immigration that causes problem for that money. So now but now they don't come to Nigeria again because our currency is bad. So they will stay at that Benin and rather go to Ghana and those other countries. That's where they are going to work now. They don't come around this our side because our currency is extremely bad. So now you saw one of them that came when I was doing the class. He's staying with another Oga. He came to see this one. He came and I want him to go on time. And I still gave him money for fuel. But if it's some other Oga, the Baba, they will say, no, I don't send them and I ain't come. But because next time now, do you know, if I ask him, bring boys for me, he will bring for me. Because he knows I will take care of them. So this is what most of us don't do, and we think we are being smart, as in squeezing them or whatever. At the end of the day, you are losing. I know a lot of farmers in my community here. Any boys they use that year, we never come back to work with them again. They will not come back because the way they treat them. Farmers, no, like me, I don't cook for them, but I give them all the food. So whatever they cook, they know, even if it is sweet, it's their own. But some farmers cook for them. And then they will share for them. You understand? Why some farmers, they will cook. Then they will now separate the boys too and pour water to make it watery and give the boys. What, you know, a lot of treatments like that. But they don't mind. They just want to work and go. But they will not come to your place next year. Like my uncles, I don't cook for them. They know I will not cook for them. But I'll give them. The ones I cannot give them, the one I know we should plant on the farm. I insist. You plant it, or I go there. Oh yeah, I told you 2 days ago we have to plant okra. I went there with supervisor. We plant okra. I plant ewedu. So those ones I told them I'm not buying because I've been telling them to plant. They did not plant it. I'm not buying. But if I did not go there to say, yeah, we are planting today, they will not plant it, and they will still be sending somebody to me to buy okra. I should buy okra, and I refuse. That's what I normally do. They will not be telling me there's no okra now. If you ask them to plant anything, you have to be there, you have to supervise, you have to stay and make sure they plant it in your presence. Their mentality is they can weed, they can make beds, this heavy work, they can weed, they can make heaps, they can do heavy work. But all this like do you know my nursery, my pepper nursery and tomato nursery? If I do pepper nursery with them on the farm, they will not take care of it for me. So, and since I don't always go to farm all the time because I travel, I do my pepper nursery in my compound, in my house. So that anytime I can just walk into the compound and clear my nursery. But if you give them on the farm, my pepper are always getting bad. They will just be pouring water. They will not weed it. They will not do anything. They will not take care of it for you. So I've already understand those ones. So the ones I know they can do, I allow them. The one they cannot do, I do it myself. So these are the things you need to understand on the farm. So thank you for joining me. I think I've attended to all the questions. Yes, I've attended to all the questions. And if you miss the class, you can watch it again. Welcome, welcome. I have plenty of my organs right here. Plenty of my organs right here. But I just try to share some of the things we do on the farm, on how to cut costs, or how to manage your farm workers. But see, if you cannot be on the, if you cannot, even if you take farm manager, the farm manager, did he actually know what to do on the farm? Did he actually know what to do to be productive on the farm? Do you know, if you offer farm manager and tell them you want to offer farm manager and tell them that you want to offer farm manager and tell them you pay them commission, nobody will take it from you, because they know they will not produce for you. So that you have farm manager doesn't guarantee your farm is good. Your farm is, you understand that you have farm manager does not guarantee that your farm is good. So these are this. So I think I've answered the question. Somebody said, what are you planting now this dry season? We plant vegetables. Where's your farm? I've answered that one. Is it possible to get people to pay some deposits? I'm not getting involved, honestly. I can tell you how to get to. I already mentioned how to get to Bani Kwara, how to get to Benin, where you get them. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting farm manager for farm worker for anybody. No, I've had enough. 3 times. If I didn't learn, and then I'm stupid. So guys, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I'll be ending the live session some other time.